NVIDIA's new Shield TV is still the fastest set-top box around, despite having the same hardware as before. This new model is significantly smaller and includes both a redesigned gaming controller and a slim remote. The Shield is still $200, but the remote previously cost an additional $50. It keeps a sharp and angular style from the 2015 model, but it's shrunken down to an impressively small size. The box is only slightly wider than its remote, which means it won't be too tough to hide in your entertainment center. On the back you've got two USB 3.0 ports, an Ethernet jack, and the usual HDMI and power connections. There's no micro SD card slot like before, but you can expand the Shield's paltry 16GB of storage with USB sticks. It's still powered by NVIDIA's Tegra X1 chip, and it includes 3GB of RAM. It's disappointing that not much has changed, but the new Shield is still more powerful than every other streaming box on the market. To its credit, NVIDIA is also bringing all of the Shield's new features to the original model via software update, so if you've got one of those laying around, you won't need a new box. You can just snag NVIDIA's new Shield controller for $60 on its own. And really, that new controller is the biggest upgrade this time around. It's slimmer and easier to hold than the last one, which was a bulky first-gen mess. It's simply better in just about every way. All the buttons feel more responsive, and the analog sticks are much more fluid. As a gamepad, it's still not as refined as the Xbox One's controllers, but it's getting there. The remote now features a matte metal finish, but otherwise it's identical to the last one. It's like an oversized Apple TV remote, with a circular directional pad and a large button for voice commands. One of the big selling points for this new Shield was the addition of Google Assistant, but unfortunately that's not arriving until later this year. For now you can use voice commands to find things like apps and things to watch, or ask basic questions about the weather or recent sports games. And even though the Shield TV is running Android Nougat, the actual Android TV interface hasn't changed a bit. It's still a powerful little media box, so the Shield didn't break a sweat when launching and hopping between streaming video apps, and it handled 4K HDR content from Netflix and Amazon Video just as well as Roku's Ultra. And yes, you heard that right, the new Shield is the first Android TV set-top box to include Amazon Video support. That's something that Google's own Chromecast doesn't work with. Honestly, it's hard to be surprised by any media box these days. Where the Shield really shines is with games. It sports a revamped version of NVIDIA's GeForce Now game streaming service, which is powered by GTX 10 series class GPUs. I was able to load up The Witcher 3 in about the same time it takes to launch on my gaming rig, and while I was playing it, I couldn't tell the game was actually being rendered on a remote server and streamed to me over the internet. At 1080p and ultra graphics settings, it simply looked great. I had to look very hard to find compression artifacts, and the only truly noticeable issue was the occasional audio dropout. Most importantly, I didn't feel any lag while controlling The Witcher 3's main character, Geralt. Running and jumping felt incredibly responsive, and I had no trouble getting into the rhythm of the game's combat. Similarly, I had a blast with Shadow Warrior 2, a fast-paced shooter where you'd really notice input lag. It suffered from more compression artifacts in The Witcher 3, but it still looked impressive. Naturally, the quality of your GeForce Now experience will come down to your internet setup. It was fine when connected wirelessly on my 802.11ac network on my Netgear Nighthawk router, which is backed by a fairly reliable 100 megabits per second cable connection. I'm sure it would perform even better when connected over Ethernet, but personally that's something I'm trying to avoid in 2017. The streaming service will also cost you. It's $7.99 a month for access to a select library of games, and you'll have to buy new titles at full price. If you just want to stream games from your PC, there's NVIDIA's Game Stream feature, which is only available to GeForce video card owners. It was a cinch getting Gears of War 4 streamed to my TV at 1440p with ultra quality settings. There wasn't any lag or compression artifacts. It looked like I just strung a long HDMI cable to my TV from my PC. Even the game's surround sound carried over without any major tweaking. It also helps that I've got a decent gaming rig powered by an NVIDIA GTX 1080 GPU. Being an Android TV device and all, the Shield can also play actual Android games. Mostly though, I found them to be pretty disappointing experiences. Resident Evil 5, for example, was a stuttering mess that crashed almost every time I loaded it. There are other Android titles out there, but none of them were as compelling as the games available on GeForce Now or GameStream. If you can't tell by now, the Shield is really just meant for gamers. There are countless cheaper video streaming options out there, like the Apple TV and all of Roku's devices, which can also handle 4K and HDR videos. And even in the gaming arena, it's going against Valve's $50 Steam Link, which can also bring PC games to any TV in your home. That device also works with a variety of controllers like the Xbox One and PlayStation 4's, as well as Valve's $50 Steam controller. At $200, the Shield TV is a better deal than before, but still very much a niche set-top box for gamers with money to burn.